We're reading this now. Stop linking. Linker is about to get executed in chat. Posted by user wannabe_sad boy. The effort post boy. Hey, my duders. I wanted to make a post to kind of just discuss my feelings on former DGGer for life, Vaush. It's one of the first times I've made a post like this with actual legitimate feelings of disappointment. However, with recent events happening, such as Destiny's ban and his reaction to them, including the DGGer purge from Vaush's sub, which finally hit me, LeMayo, I felt like it was time to make this post. I was someone who knew Vaush when he was Irish Laddie, a member of Destiny's community. I'm not going to lie, what I knew of him back then was not great, and I thought of him as a bit of a lolcow and a bit of a wannabe Destiny. Particular things that stood out in my mind from that period was him telling conservative DGGer X-Skills-Me that in Vaush's ideal society, he'd have X-Skills-Me executed. And the sex pest drama, including things like him talking about his love for horsecock and shit like that.
I've been beta testing.
Why would you not be signed up when you could go to surfshark.deal/destiny and get 3 months free and 83% off your purchase? Guys, whether it's for cybersecurity reasons, whether it's for privacy reasons so people aren't peeking through your traffic, whether it's for you to use any one of the products that they offer, they've got a search engine, they've got Surfshark Alert, they've got an antivirus, whether it's for you to be able to access the content that you already pay for on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, anywhere in or out of this world. You might be on the International Space Station wondering if your internet is about to get censored because of turmoil on Earth. Well, guess what? If you have Surfshark VPN, you will be able to access all the content that you want anywhere where you have access to an internet connection. Charges may apply to your own internet connection. Check it out. Surfshark.deals/destiny. 83% off. 3 extra months for free. Do it for your security. Do it for your privacy. And do it so that you can access your content anywhere in the world.
Okay, in the back.
Why didn't you link to the timestamp? Why didn't you link to the timestamp? Two years ago, Irish Laddie. I wasn't fucking done. Also Irish Laddie. Talks for 20 minutes straight. Also Irish Laddie. Interrupts X-Kills Me constantly. Also Irish Laddie. Bulldozes X-Kills Me and Destiny constantly. I'll summarize, and somebody can call me out if I'm lying, if you think I'm lying. So at some point in this debate, I think Irish Laddie essentially says, in my ideal society, people like X-Kills-Me would be executed for the political positions that they hold. And X-Kills-Me's political position is he's just like a bog standard conservative, basically. That was the what was going on. And I think he says it multiple times throughout the video, but Irish Laddie is Vaush. Yes, correct. For those that don't know, he came from my community like 10 years ago. He's been in my community for a long time. However, even with all this, I was glad when he started his own independent streaming career. I was upset when he got banned for the Glass Israel shit. Wait, we have a timestamp.
We're coming into this with him basically saying he would kill me under his political system.
Okay,
So,
okay. All right, okay. For one, I didn't say I would do it. I'm lazy, okay? Let's not assign that responsibility to me. But would you be killed generally? Ooh, I don't know. You make a solid case every time you open your mouth. Yeah, I'm not ashamed of that statement at all.
Right, but here's the problem is that I'm having a serious discussion here. I really believe capitalism is the best system for what you claim to care about. And here you are saying people like me get murdered. Like, why would I?
Okay, we've gotten pretty non sequitur now. Okay, chill.
It's not a non sequitur. He says I don't understand his ideology now, but he's advocated for actually having me murdered. So
Well, but yeah, but if his ideology would say that people like you are exploitive.
Fuck! I'm running so much defense for Irish Laddie here. He wasn't as good at arguing yet, so I think I had to like reform a lot of his points to make them a little bit more coherent, a little bit more charitable. To such a level that it's enforcing inherently immoral applications onto society or whatever, then I mean his thing would logically follow, right?
Like don't say that like I'm strawmanning his worldview when his worldview includes the execution of me. So don't I have some right to automatically
you haven't strawmanned me in that regard. No, I expect you to act in your own personal interest, which is to defend capitalism to your dying breath. I don't fault you for that. But what I do fault you for, however, is acting as though you're mounting the substantive critique of my ideology when we haven't even begun to discuss what sort of alternatives I would offer to the problems posed by capitalism.
Well, I know what entails killing me. So what else would you after you kill me?
No,
what would happen, Irish Laddie?
killing you would be for fun. Okay.
Yeah.
For
So what happens after I get
Christ.
murdered?
I'm sorry, you're right. I should tone it down. For efficacy, all right, let's dial it back a bit. You know what? We can roll it back a little bit, okay? So here's a problem I think exists. I don't think people get to make free decisions of.
Okay. Anyway. I was glad when I started to saw Vaush have some success on YouTube, especially at the beginning of Destiny's lefty arc. It was cool to see Vaush going against conservatives, and as someone who would consider himself to be the left of Destiny, although still a suckdem, it was cool to see a more left-leaning voice that seemed to at least be more measured and capable of good debate. 2 hours and 20 minutes for the other execution mention. We only need one. We're good. Okay.
How does it come back to the United States? Are foreign people going to start buying up businesses here? Like, how does that money come back to us?
Well, this is the tough part. This is the part I can't talk with that skills me, because this is where the guns come out, you know?
Wait, so we would have to go to war to enforce our system on other people? Or?
No. Sorry. To clarify, we would not have to go to war with others. We would have to say it politely, incentivize corporations currently stationed in the United States to keep them from fleeing to other nations.
Well, no. Hold on, wait. I just want to nail this point down, okay? Because this is an actual conversation without you guys talking about it, okay? So if we were to bring all of our supply chains back to the United States, stop engaging in foreign trade in the current ways that we do, our products would become...
We wouldn't have to stop that.
But you're talking about becoming a fully self-sufficient country. So you're
No, I didn't. I'm very sorry if I implied that. But what I mean to say is during the transition to socialism, there will be a period of economic upheaval that will disrupt our trade relations.
Okay. So let's ignore what I just said then. If we were to focus on ethics over profit or over our economic well-being, eventually other countries would become much more competitive than us in regards to trade, and it would hurt our export market significantly. When we start to experience the economic pains of that, of not being able to export products to other people and whatnot, what do we? Do we just eat those economic losses and hope that we can
He said we confiscate the property, we execute people who don't obey.
Whoa. I mean, I probably will say that, but I haven't said that yet. So you
did say that though. You said
no. We'll get to the explosive finale down the road, okay? Yes, Stephen, one of the unfortunate truths of being a socialist is you have to accept that your nation will not get to enjoy the skyrocket GDP growth that capitalist nations get to enjoy. There is going to be a sacrifice of some economic efficiency to the benefit of hopefully making life better for everybody. Now, does that leave us open to being slowly economically consumed by other nations that don't have our same, ethical standards? Absolutely it does. That's why I'm glad I live in the United States of America with the world's strongest military that could defend itself if necessary. I would like to see a socialist cascade, because and pardon me for dreaming here, but as we go socialist and we no longer exploit developing nations, the socialist movements that have been growing in fervor in those countries since the Soviet Union took rise would hopefully have a little bit more leeway to flex, because they aren't being stymied by American corporations going over there and funding their people to beat them into submission. Hopefully America going socialist would have a cascading effect, and within, I'm going to be optimistic, a century, we could see something comparable in most of the nations of the world. Is it risky? Yes. Are we all going to die anyway? Yes. I think it's worthwhile.
That's a whole
Was that
lot
an
of...
answer? I'm not trying to just jerk off.
It's just theory crafting. You might as well be describing like Middle Earth policy or something.
I answered Steven's
question.
No.
So I understand your answer, and this is gonna make you maybe kill yourself. I hope you don't do it on stream. But my issue with this is that this answer, there are so many points at which things could become catastrophic. There were still things that bothered me a bit about his content, for sure. For one, he would engage in this weird posturing about his sexual prowess, a particular noteworthy example being the Tacoma wept clip. I've heard other women tell me this about Vaush's content, but I've never actually, I always kind of assumed it was a meme, but apparently this happens pretty often. I think the most I saw this validated was when I watched his drunk stream, and I noticed that there was some hour-long ramble about how sexually amazing I thought it was kind of weird. But apparently, I've heard he does a lot on the stream. I truly don't know, because I just don't watch his stream that much, because I don't have time to watch streams. But
wait, is this guy seriously saying that I can't get laid? Incredible! I'll give you 5,000 if you can get poontang before January 1st. Do you have any idea who the fuck you're talking to? When I got off Tinder because of the fucking quarantine, Tacoma wept. even like ignoring the fact that I have a girlfriend, even if we're just talking like randos, I'm 2 hours away right now from being inside somebody else. This is one. I have 2 skills, and it's non-monogamy and speaking publicly. Okay, do some fucking research.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that and horsecock. Which always made me a little uncomfortable with the sex pest shit. Second, there were times where watching debates, I knew the exact lines of arguments he was going to go down because we both heard them from the same person. Destiny. This extended to mannerisms and rhetorical style a lot as well, but that was okay. I liked Destiny, I liked his style, and I liked his arguments, so what if Vaush copied him a bit? However, the things that worried me the most, and the thing that would end up being a warning sign for things to come, were Vaush's ego, a focus on projecting strength and an admission to being completely willing to use misinformation if he thought it helped him reach a good political end, and a hand-waving of having to answer hard philosophical questions and building political values up from there, as he acknowledges in the morally lucky argument with Rem. Something to speak of real quick about this, and I do notice this happens a lot. I talk about this a lot. I think that some people will skim like a surface level appearance, and they try to emulate that, but they don't understand why it works. So I'll jerk myself off for a second. One of the reasons why I grew in popularity in 2016, 2017 was because I was a left-leaning person who was willing to like go into like the trenches and fight like really dirty with people and like scream and shout and be like antagonistic and edgy and all that. But something that's really important to understand is that that was who I was, and to some extent who I still am. Like that's like a genuine representation of what I am. I wasn't doing that to project an image, and I wasn't trying to foster or cultivate some false sense of this is what I think a hyper masculine debater, or this is what I think it looks like to own people. That was just like the personality that I had. That's who I was. I think that some people see the like what that looks like on the end, and then they try to bite that, but it's not really who they are, and they end up going overboard in some ways that ends up looking really cringe. If somebody could link me right now to the YouTube video where Vaush explains the tactical N-bomb, I would love to read that on stream. Does anybody have a link to that fucking YouTube video that I'm talking about? Oh man. So when I use slurs, when I'm talking about slurs, it's because if we're gonna have a conversation about slurs, it's really silly to say things like the F slur or the N word. Like if you don't have the maturity to like even utter the word in a conversation, then just don't talk about it. If it's too triggering for you, but like, it just feels like really goofy. That feels unbelievably silly to me. I don't do it for shock value. I ban people when they make sweats. Like that's not like my goal. It's like, oh, look how fucking hardcore. It's just like, we're having a conversation about these words. These are the words we talk about as we're having a conversation about them. Like that's it. Now I think Vaush though, so I think people hear me do that. They're like, oh my God, I want to say slurs like Destiny. Oh my God, it's awesome. I think people get that idea. And then I think Vaush ends up dropping an N-bomb or something in here. No! Did he delete his comment? Oh no! Hold on, there's gotta be a screenshot. Oh, okay. He might've deleted his comment because I've made fun of him semi-recently, I think, for it. But this was the comment that he put underneath that video. In this video, I drop an N-bomb. A big one, hard R. I did this to show my interlocutors that their language doesn't impress me, that their slurs don't frighten or disarm me. You can see from their reactions that it worked. They were clearly taken aback. It was a power move, which I'm entirely unashamed of. But I understand how that language might have upset some of you. This is an example of what I would call an invocation of a slur's power for good. But that's a subjective judgment. I invite you all to discuss this in the comments, critically or otherwise. Okay, Chief. Here's the clip. I don't need to watch him say it, but the power N-word move. Like, all right, dude, we got it. Oh, and then the morally lucky thing.
But I want to.
Fuck! Why do you want to be sad boy? Doesn't link. So yeah, I think Vaush talks about like
time to justify
not giving a fuck about understanding any philosophy or whatever, and then obviously that triggers the fuck out of Rem. But
He is public speaking.
Wait,
He's
okay,
on right
so
now.
wait,
There are plenty of
Who
people. Hold on.
who should be allowed to publicly speak on these matters, especially when everyone, people who are even less educated and less intelligent than we are, somehow, because we're very stupid when it comes to philosophy, apparently.
This is so elitist.
Even when they are out there promoting their narratives and changing people's minds, who should be able to talk?
People who have at least read the basics of ethics, as actually most
I'm
political
familiar with
science
the basics of
students
ethics.
read.
You just
Keep
said
going,
justifying
baby.
ethical
One day I'll
axioms,
be a
which
real
you
boy.
yourself cannot do and don't
He's
need
correct.
to do.
Do you not
because
know?
you're
Are
a
you
public
sorry? Do
figure.
you not know the argument? No. Do you not know the arguments for and against utilitarianism?
I'm familiar with them on a basic level. If you
Right, then just
listen,
give them to me.
you just asked
Give
me.
them to me.
You just asked me to justify my foundational
Yeah,
belief. that
give me
people should
Mill's
generally be happy.
fucking utilitarian
But you
arguments.
Oh yeah.
Rem,
okay. So
Rem,
just
is
say
there
it. Rem.
anyone that you know- is there anyone that you know that can
Stop. Okay. With these points taken together, it means that Vaush is by default not engaging in good faith in any discussion he has. His focus is on appearing stronger than the other person, so he will never admit he's wrong in a debate because it would look weak. To the extent that he said he's willing to lie if he thinks he can get away with it, you should have linked these videos where we argue about that.
So let's say you've popped content and it's a little misleading, a little reductive, but the message is good. It pushes people in the right direction, and at the end they have links to resources that you could read up on to be more educated on it. Do you think that's acceptable?
So I just don't know what you mean in terms of reductive. Everything that you said doesn't sound bad. My issue right now is that I think that going forward, something that I'm trying to be very strict on is I think that it's very, very, very important to report factual stuff correctly. Because I think right now the biggest issue that we're having probably across the world, but at the very least in the United States, is we are widening this chasm of what both sides see as reality. And that widening of the chasm, even if it's for a good cause, I don't think is good. I think at the end of the day, I think that lying a little bit to sell a good message is actually hurting these good messages so much, and it makes them so difficult for anybody to buy into them.
You think that if we got rid of, so let's take the right out of this because the right doesn't care about misinformation. Okay. If we took
the left doesn't either, unfortunately, right now. But yeah.
Well, I think that like principally, the right doesn't care about misinformation. Leftists, I think, just are very good at misleading themselves.
I don't know if that's true. I think the right is the same. I think a lot of them are very good at misleading themselves. But go ahead.
Okay, well we can discuss that. But that aside. If we were to get rid of all content which has any misleading elements for the advocacy of liberal or left-leaning politics, I think that would destroy almost everything. We would be left with NPR-style, incredibly empirical, fact-based, and dry commentary, high-level academia accessible only content, and maybe a couple of people left capable of threading that line.
Wait,
hold on. There are people in chat saying good. We lose if that happens.
Wait. I think that this is a bad dichotomy. You can have content that's edgy, engaging, entertaining, aesthetic, that doesn't mislead people or lie.
The expectation that even reductive content must be excised from people on our side of the political aisle.
No, I think reductive content is okay.
Well, what's the line then?
The line is when you're misreporting the facts, or if you're like completely misrepresenting something, or if you're being so reductive that you're being incorrect.
Okay, but in this case, I think incorrectness is kind of a gradient.
I'm not, whatever the ingredient is, we're way far away from where I would be debating the gradient. Right now, we're just like, people just report things that are just factually not true. That's my issue.
Sure, they do that. But, okay.
This means he's not going to change his beliefs due to any logical external challenges or any external logical challenges. Because his politics don't come from any actual philosophical grounding, they're not going to change from internal challenges. The reason I say external logical challenges is because, from what he has stated, the only reason he'd ever change his positions was if the optical pressure were so great that it overwhelmed his ego and he moved on them. I began to see this happen, which worried me even more greatly. It happened with him backing off his criticism of black supremacists initially, although he would return to that when he felt his brand was strong enough to keep going on that train. And his criticisms of the LGBT community being less than human, with trans people specifically subhuman, Pepe, losers who won't change, and a community built on shared mental illness, particularly from the trans community. Oh, believe me, I know we'll get more into that later. Oh, and this is his...
Left community online, particularly the LGBT community, is cancerous as fuck. If you're not an idiot, you will agree with me on this. If you have any fucking experience with online like LGBT or leftist discourse, you know it's cancerous as fuck. You understand this. People are hyper fragile. There's a ton of mental illness. And you can't convert these people. They're not reasonable. They have to be excised from the left. And it's because it's coming from dumb fucks who are gay. This person says they're gay as hell? Because it's coming from the gays. It's woke now. These people are less than human to me. I have no respect for these people. These people are fucking disgusting. You don't need to be a psychologist to see that a large portion of the broader fucking like woke-tard, cancel culture, idpo left is predicated on shared mental illness.
Keep hating your life then, working class
This
Andy.
is particularly prominent in the trans community. If you disagree with me on this, you're wrong. I know it sounds yikesy. It happens anyway. Pretty much every time I deal with dipshits from the left that's trans girls, that I notice there's a vastly disproportionate amount of dumb fuck lefty takes in my feed coming from trans people. I don't know. Most of the time when a wildly fucking irrational lefty comes in to make bad faith arguments against me, it's a trans person. That is a fact. If all of these dumb fucks recognize that I despise them and think they're every bit as detrimental to the left as Nazis are, I am doing good. I want these people to know that they're my enemy. I fucking hate them. I really do despise them.
But they're not your enemy.
Oh, no.
Ironic that he's arguing with Doe in this video.
Yes, they are. They hurt me, and they hurt you. Because every time some dumb fuck trans girl on Twitter who's acting out mental illness, whining, calling people like me transphobic because I disagree with them, they're hurting the left. No, these people are ill. These people are cancer. They're subhuman. I don't care.
Question. You don't have to do that kind of shit. That doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm edgy. I don't give a fuck.
It's not just you know that's not just being edgy.
Damn right. Yeah, it's edgy as shit.
No, making a reference to the Jewish question about how like there's like a trans conspiracy or whatever. Like that's not just being edgy. That's like literally calling for the death of trans.
Here's Vaush now.
Do you consider his take on trans athletes actually transphobic? I don't know I don't know. I only see him on Twitter like bullying trans people, and like I only see trans like little trans accounts like going private or like freaking out because they get like transphobes in their comment replies because Destiny quote tweeted them, and a ton of far right people follow Destiny on Twitter for like targets to like engage with. You know what I mean? I don't really know. I don't know. His community's gotten pretty far right. Oh, you know, Danny, or I think Synth was here, is her name. I followed her for a while on Twitter before unfollowing her because she was an insufferable like DGG stan. But then I refollowed her on stream actually because of a horse dick joke. You know, I'm consistent. Destiny like banned her from his chat a couple of days ago because she was pointing out that his behavior was attracting like a far right audience that was engaging in transphobia unironically, and she just got banned for that. Okay, am I misremembering, or did he not say like banned for posting child pornography? Yeah.
Bro, I ban half my band say ban pedophile. That's just what I put when I ban people.
Yeah, because he likes calling trans women pedos. He seems to do that a lot. Or something like that, yeah. Didn't Destiny delete a ton of...
But really makes you think, huh? Anyway, for a while, Vaush defended Destiny as, he might be a bit spicy, but he's a net good to the left, and it's good to criticize bad ideas on the left. Based take. At this time, behind the scenes, Destiny was reaching out personally to Twitch contacts he knew to try to get Vaush unbanned and talking him up on his streams. This is, of course, after the initial exposure he'd already given him with multiple talks on his stream. Vaush would acknowledge at various points here of how he would not have a streaming career without Destiny, and although I of course think there's a ton of work Vaush put into his career, I think he's completely correct here. However, at a certain point, the Vaush-Destiny relationship began to grow sour. As Vaush grew, Destiny continued to criticize leftists, and the pressure grew from an increasingly large fan base for Vaush to call out Destiny. This began to happen, and to Vaush's credit here, Destiny absolutely could have responded better and in a way that made these initial discussions more amenable and keep the bridge. However, both of them grew increasingly more heated, and the bridge became more and more untenable. This was very concerning to me when it happened. What I speculated, from what I already knew about Vaush, on his own words, was that he would never concede to Destiny, who is now an enemy, and he'd be perfectly willing to lie about him if he thought he could optically get away with it. In addition, I knew that if Destiny took Vaush to where he knew he was weak, or moral or philosophical arguments, Destiny was too good of a debater and Vaush was too weak in these areas to come out looking good in these arguments, even if he would only choose them when he tried to cherry pick the max possible optically friendly arguments. This would happen with both the Kyle Rittenhouse argument and the philosophy tube and socialist hypocrisy debate. For Vaush to come out looking good in either one of these, or to even offer a coherent argument, he needed to have a consistent moral philosophical grounding that he could argue his positions from, which he had already admitted he did not. After those, I was interested in what Vaush's response would be. What I was hoping would happen would be some acknowledgement from him, even if he didn't agree with Destiny there, at least acknowledging he needed to brush up more on moral philosophy to ground his values out more, and that he'd look forward to the next opportunity to debate Destiny. Instead, what we got was the worst case scenario. He decided to start trying to dodge Destiny as much as possible while actively lying about Destiny's actions and positions, which has been demonstrated multiple times by Destiny with the help of his editor, and spinning a narrative that Destiny is spite-driven and bad faith. Wait, what is this?
If we have any mutuals who still like Destiny, that's totally cool. But I would really encourage you to like look at him the way that I do now, or I don't know.
Oh, I think Vaush has a lot of things in this
that I've pointed out. The reflexive anger and hatred towards lefties, the obsession with contrarianism, the backpedaling and the lying, but then condemning other people for backpedaling and lying and banning people who call him out in his behavior when he does it. Because he does it a lot.
True.
And if there are any other content creators who know both of us, it's only a matter of time before he does to you what he did to like me and a bunch of other people.
You can contrast Destiny in the past year reviewing Vaush's content to Vaush reviewing Destiny's. Destiny is willing to defend Vaush when he feels he's right.
So I made this video about, there was a young girl, she would have been like 18 or 19. I think she was almost 20, right? Mm-hmm. And I look a bit older than I am. I'm 28, so I would have been like 26 at the time. Mm-hmm. And
she was 23.
She was 23. Producer Lordy hit me.
You got Jamie in the background there? Sorry.
Jamie's looking it up.
Yeah, pull up her wiki. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
What was the date of birth? So she was 23 years old. I made fun of her in a video. And Vaush basically said, this is a child and you're laughing at her. He said, you're a groomer. Right? And he goes, you're a groomer. You're this, you're that. And then this whole thing from his audience, I didn't even see it. And these people are going, you're a groomer. You think it's okay to groom children? I was like, fucking what? What the fuck are you talking about? I was just sitting at my home with my family. And I got like the mega shit. So that's like the worst insult you can call someone, like, you know, to be involved in something so horrific as pedophilia. And then to see the shit that he's come out with over the past. Now, you have been very involved in criticism against Vaush's opinions on pedophilia, I believe. Is that fair to say?
Not actually. It's a long story. It's a long story. He's made like, Vaush came out of my community. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not. He used to go by Irish Laddie a long time ago, and he was a person in my community. And there's just been a lot of like random things that have come up relating to him. I hate that I'm saying this because I shouldn't extend him any good faith whatsoever because he's truly a scumfuck human being. I don't think he's an actual pedophile. I just say shit like that to try to fuck him.
I don't either.
Yeah. So I think he's had some like dumb quotes that are like kind of hyperbolic. Like, I want to say at one point, I hope I'm not misquoting it, but I think he said something like, if you're okay with like child slavery, like people making your clothes in China, you should be okay with like child sex. And it's like, I understand what he's going for there. He was trying to say that like neither of those are okay, but people took it as him saying that both were okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of the quotes are. But the only reason I have any sort of empathy for him there is that like people will do that shit to me a lot, where they'll take like one clip out of a conversation and say that like I'm pro like pedophilia, racism, transphobia, ism, whatever fucking ism they want. So yeah, it happens a lot. I'm sure it's happened to you a ton, right? Vaush discussing Destiny's content involves him lying about points Destiny's made, accusing Destiny of being insane, and saying on their face absurd reaches like Destiny had pro-trans position in the past and still does now, but he is a transphobe.
The other day, did you know, this is, by the way, I'm totally poisoning the well here, but did you know while debating with Lance was making the argument that like Google was still like reactionary or whatever, okay? Lance pointed out that at Google, you need to get a legal name change if you're trans for your name card to be updated. So if you're a trans lady and you've got Michael on your name card, like you need a legal name change for them to confirm the change in the thing. And Destiny, I swear to God, I actually looked, I did to double check to make sure it's real. Destiny, he said, is that really a big deal?
First of all, I wonder if you watched this whole debate, how can you summarize that so incorrectly?
How someone identifies themselves on a name badge versus a security protocol to get into the building. But once you're inside the building, is it okay to be wearing a name badge, in your opinion, that says a name that you choose, not your dead name?
I would have to know specifically like the protocol of how their badges work to really like know that, because like in my corporate experience, in my environment experience at the casino, and this is all I have to go on. I could be wrong. It's probably the same as areas. Like your name badge will usually represent like areas that you can get into or not. So like the color of your badge might matter, or a symbol on the badge might matter. If that can be anything, then people just like switch badges and go wherever the fuck they want. In that case, then no, you can't. But now if these are literally just like fucking like name tags or whatever, well then yeah, I guess you should be able to put whatever name you want on it if it doesn't mean anything. But if these badges are used to like sign into area, yeah, I guess. But like my guess is going to be that.
Okay, so would you then think it was kind of hypocritical for them to not allow them to do something so simple as that, and then also use like the gay logo?
Do they use their IDs to swipe in? Do they use their IDs to swipe in for access anywhere?
I don't know.
If you don't know this, then why are you? Wait, hold on. If you don't know this, why are you talking about this at all? You have no idea what you're talking about. Then you understand that, right?
What do you mean?
You have no idea what because if they do use these to swipe in for things, and if these badges are like unique and important, then you would agree then that they probably should have their like state names on them.
I don't know anything about their security protocol badges. I'm talking about name tags. Like,
okay, but do they use
the emails? That's what the email sent.
But do they use their name? Because some people have it's all built in. Like they'll have chips on their like name badges and shit, and they use that to swipe into places. I don't know if people in my chat are just trying to argue or not, because I can't tell, but a lot of people in my chat, and I don't know, and I don't trust them because I know a lot of them don't like you, and so they'll say dumb shit, but there are a lot of people in my chat saying that you use your badge for entry into different areas and shit. I know I got people that work at Google. I don't know if they, but like, if that is the case, then, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that they would have to have the name on their state ID or whatever federal ID that they're recognized as is going to have to be on that badge if it's used for access to. Otherwise, you could just start giving your badges to people and shit, and people could get into anywhere, right? This is how like, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is like standard protocol at like all like major tech companies, like.
Yeah, and in which case I would agree with you if that was the case.
Okay, but then do you understand that you just staked out a huge position shitting on Google because of one issue that you don't know anything about? This is why I call you spineless.
Right now. This is not spineless. That would be ignorant. There's a huge difference. Spineless would be me being like, well, I'm just going to back up this position until the end of time, and I'm never going to.
No, but here's what you're doing. You stake out a position on this issue because it suits your ideology and it aligns you well with your ideological side, and you get all the social credit from your. I'm describing exactly what's happening. Yeah. Now I want to read more about this. After arriving on site being issued the badge with my dead name, I noticed that there were many people on site, both cis and transgender, whose badges did not reflect their legal names. I don't even know. And this was a subcontractor, I guess, with G4S. Oh, it was a security subcontracting firm, G4S. Okay. So he actually worked for security too, but Jesus, so it wasn't even Google itself. It was a subcontractor. Okay, okay, sorry. What's the, it's actually a security officer. Holy shit. My assertion was that if they were ID badges that were used for like secure rooms or secure access, it would make sense that they would need to match like a state ID in order for them to be valid. You can't just change your name to whatever you want it to be. It's going to have to match some sort of state ID. Also, it wasn't Google. It was a contractor for Google, and it was for people working in security. They were, yeah, this person was literally a security firm subcontracted by Google. But like, okay. Man, what a horrible summary of that conversation. I hate how he chuckles and laughs too. Well, because he's doing the thing, this is like the ad homing part. He has to build the case against me. I guess before he gets, I imagine he's probably going to have like some more substantive critique, but first he has to kind of like, it's funny because he says it. He's like, I'm poisoning the well. But that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to like, did you know that Destiny said this transphobic thing and this thing and this thing? And then he's going to get into the like, okay, so here's why he's bad or whatever, right?
We're truly beyond the pale here.
Ask yourself, of these people, who is the one who seems spite driven? I feel like I should make a video illustrating this because it's pretty insane how different it is with how we would treat each other's arguments. I'm not being charitable, but I'm not doing any of that with Vaush Manifesto. Fuck him. Not wasting my time on that. But it would be, this is like a lot of video clipping, I think. But I'll see what you guys posted in this thread when I finally work on this. I want to close with drawing attention to that recent stream. Vaush called it him beginning the Fortress arc, which is actually an apt name for him acknowledging that he's finally at a big enough point and had enough that he's actually going to start completely insulating himself in an echo chamber.
Obviously, it's been a bit rocky for a while. We got up, we've gone down. I do think that focusing on building the fortress arc, I think the fortress arc is going to be very good for this community.
Trans people, even including ContraPoints, one of literally the most reasonable and best video essayists the left has ever had, are at best idpol woke scolds whose arguments he strawmans as cis men bad or are the mentally ill subhumans.
He's referred to them as the past. Leftists are an insular community who hates him because he's right and has better, more practical arguments. Destiny's community are psychotic brigaders, getting marching orders from our spite-driven overlord, and anyone who backs Destiny is a simp orbiter who just wants to kiss his feet. And conservatives? Well, they're just fascists, just like George Bush and Antonin Scalia.
Your argument...
Fuck, he doesn't like... He actually said this. I think this might have been the last panel that Vaush and I were on together. I don't know if we did another one, but like him, he tried to make the argument here that fucking George Bush and Scalia were fucking fascists. What the fuck? I came in here and I dived into the toxic
answer
Reddit
all
and
your questions, and when you don't have any more rebuttals, you come up with, isn't this conversation toxic? I don't know. Why are you happy?
No, that's not a rebuttal. That's my entire point. Is that coming in here and just labeling stuff as fascist and bad is not a productive use of time.
I didn't label things as fascist and bad. We were having a conversation.
Hold
on.
Okay, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. We're moving. We're moving.
You said, wait. No. I like the
Kiwi Nation on YouTube and Twitch. You want the big group?
I like the group. I'm lonely. I like the group. Look, wait, hold on. I can amend this. Okay.
We can fix this.
So labeling things fascist and labeling things fascist, comma, and bad are two different things, and it's also very different from saying that I'll write off anything because it could potentially have any fascist.
Wait, so
leanings.
hold on. Just on that statement, so you would label something fascist and good?
I think that there are things that a fascist would do that could be good, like protectionism under some circumstances.
They wouldn't be fascist.
So then you agree then? Okay,
this is so stupid.
I don't think Vaush thinks there are some fascist things that are good. Okay, that's
for the love of God, it's really easy to explain why you're having this problem, okay?
No, I feel like this is an exceptionally thing to understand.
Wait, okay, well, let me...
I didn't actually finish.
Stop, Biv, go.
But, okay. Transcript is under the dots. Yeah, I don't think it's here yet. Or we don't have there's another transcript for this, right? But let's look at the arguments in the stream. We've already discussed one gem, that Destiny is a transphobe who used to argue trans-positive positions, still argues them, and still is a trans-positive person. Another gem is him accusing Destiny of being someone who cares about the truth more than positions, and him actually thinking that is a good criticism. I don't know if he's lying to look good to his audience when he feigns ignorance here, or is genuinely that stupid, but of course political positions are downstream from actual morality. If you're not willing to do that hard work of piecing together your worldview from the ground up, you have no way of actually defending your positions. This is why when you're put in a situation where you go up against a good debater and actually have to reason for moral principles, you lose. The final point was him talking about how DGG is psychotic, we're brigaders. I've literally never once gone into another person's stream to say something negative, and that even if we aren't, we're culpable because we're part of the community. This moral high grounding was disgusting to me. Vaush was a fan of Destiny for years, and with him through the most edgy phases of his career. He never voiced any of these criticisms then, because he was perfectly willing to be a parasite to Destiny while he was building his budding streaming career. Now, when the optical waves are against Destiny, and the best course of action is to condemn him for his career and reputation, now he voices all of these condemnations. This shit is genuinely disgusting, and one of the most egotistical, pathetic, self-serving things I've ever seen someone do. In the same stream, he talks about his real motivations. He talks about how he's reached hundreds of thousands, millions according to my analytics. Brings up how he's forgotten all the money he raised, the most transparent humble brag I've ever seen. Oh yeah, when he was on stream, he was like, guys, I forgot about the money we raised for Ukraine.
Which, again, I don't do it for the credit. You know, I really hope that this big live stream, the charity, the positivity, all of it, I hope that it encourages some people who are on the fence about me to be more open to working with me in the future. Working with me, I mean, you know, speaking amicably. That would be nice, I think.
In like a bunch of random stores that nobody goes into and always dead.
Sorry, just one moment. We actually just got raided by Hassan. My wonderful friends, hello. Please, yes, just tank my Twitch chat with Hass Raid. Hello. We are enjoying some wonderful and highly nostalgic GoldenEye 64. We are right now raising funds for Palestine Children's Relief Fund, an organization that assists the lives of the over 1 million children in Gaza, an underserved population if there ever was one. If you're able to, if you're willing to, ! Donate in chat will bring you to the Streamlabs. That adds to the funny bar down at the bottom, which has already exceeded my expectations. It's tremendous to have you all here. Hello, I love you very much. Okay, sorry, I just feel probably pressed.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan.
Which, again, I don't do it for the credit, but it's just weird because after the PCRF stream, like, you know, it felt like it defined the positivity in the community for a while. It was like a good rallying cry, I guess, for good stuff here. But obviously that got overshadowed by the J.K. Rowling stuff, and, you know, it all kind of spiraled out from there. And I felt a bit upset at you guys about that. But then I realized, the second thing I realized, was that I had forgotten about it too.
how addressing criticisms is not worth his intelligence and time, before a bizarre tangent where he says Putin brought up J.K. Rowling because of him, and that what he wants his audience to do when people criticize him is to tell him about all of the good things he's done. Vaush is an egotistical, self-serving piece of shit with an overinflated opinion whose concern is not actually about either his political beliefs or the truth, but about his reputation and his brand. The only time he will ever address criticism, ever apologize, or ever show any accountability is only when he thinks it will help his reputation and brand. Irish Laddie. I look forward to you proving this entire post right. You will dodge these criticisms outright, only addressing them if you think you have a narrative you can try to spin to boost your reputation. And not only will you continue to be too much of a bitch boy coward to ever engage with Destiny again, you won't even be able to engage with a challenge from anyone from his community. Do that if it makes you feel better, but never forget, at the end of the day, Destiny in this community, despite your lies and vilification, is the only reason you're a streamer now, and not some socialist dipshit nobody sitting in the poor part of Beverly Hills trying to get laid on lefty discords by talking about how much it turns you on, picturing their buttholes getting ripped open by horsecock. Jeez. I swear during the Doe and Riley drama, I saw a clip of Vaush where Vaush pretty much gave the okay for Riley to get harassed. Does anyone remember this or have the clip? Also, another clip that sums up Vaush perfectly is the posture montage. Dude, that fucking... Oh, shit. Hold on. This is true. I remember this.
Just want to see if I can't find that clip sometime. I think that... I think I'm comfortable, though, that if it does turn out that after that conversation, Riley's takeaway is that I said it would be okay to have sex in public, I'm okay with going nuclear on Riley. We no longer need any respect for her. We can sort of shame people for even continuing to give a fuck about her. You can call her whatever you want. I don't care.
Now, keep in mind, that's what Vaush said about Riley. Can somebody link what I said about Demon Mama? One of the first times I got accused of being majorly transphobic. Doesn't have that clip because I don't want to misquote myself to make myself sound better than I was. But I'm pretty sure my clip was like, I'm not going to enforce cross-platform bans anymore. I don't care what happens or whatever. That's it. Vaush is like giving explicit endorsement to like nuking her. Like compare, please. Does anybody have? If somebody could find that so that you can have my exact words, so it doesn't look like I'm misquoting myself. I would like to compare that because I got roasted so hard for that.
There's absolutely no charity reserved for people who behave that way. Absolutely none. Just want to see if I can.
Why George Bush is fascist.
Destiny.
Yeah, I just want to know, how are Bush or Scalia a fascist?
So with Scalia, I would need to go back over the case rulings that he's given because I don't have a great memory for the judicial stuff. I said that earlier. I'd be happy to come back with a lot more arguments because this is stuff that I half remember from podcasts that I've listened to and articles that I've read and conversations that I've had.
Okay, how could you listen to podcasts, have conversations, and read articles and not remember a single reason why he might have been a fascist? Not even one reason. You've done all that research, you don't remember a single fucking thing, bro?
Bush, I think the argument is a lot more direct, and it's obviously something I remember a little bit more directly. I think that Bush, the obvious ones, the straightforward ones are obviously the 2020 election and the extent to which it was not fairly earned, in my opinion.
Even if Bush fucking walked down and stole the election himself, that's not a fascist. That would, like, you could call it authoritarian or autocratic maybe, or totalitarian, I don't know, some weird shit, but that's still not fascist. That has nothing to do with fascism. Like,
the broader ones, though, are the...
He said 2020 accent, yeah.
Or the 2000.
2004. I meant 2000.
Bush went to court. He submitted himself to the authority of the court. Right.
And he did. He went through the entire process. So it's kind of hard to call him a fascist when he went through the U.S. Like, God, oh my God, this panel was painful. This is probably some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen Vaush do before. Like, this is Vaush at his worst. Okay, this is the only jerk-off video. Oh, here's your cross-platform. Oh, these are the comments that okay, so compare what Vaush said about how you can do whatever or anything is good. Call her whatever name you want. This is what I said about Demon Mama, how I no longer get, right? We're no longer enforcing cross-platform bans against Demon Mama nor Chaos Mel. And starting tomorrow night, all other content is banned from my community for excessive transphobia. Keep hating your life, that was I got roasted. I got called a transphobe for this. I got called a transphobe for this because people are like, oh, you're telling your community to go and harass a trans woman. People called me a transphobe for that.
Coming of a person
on a civil rights. I mean, like obviously there does have to be some relationship between the things you do and like your appointment to boards like that, right?
Oh, and then this is Vaush giving justification, I think, for why it's okay to go after RGR's fucking bar license, attorney license, to go after her to try to make it so she can't get certified from the bar. Like,
I mean, I think. Now you could say it's like esoteric and this online drama doesn't like perfectly describe her value elsewise, but I think there's at least an argument to be had here. Dylan says, every Maryland queer I know who knows of her advocacy has shining reviews. Her stuff offline has been great. The last thing I want is someone doing good work to be thrown off their work. As a queer, I think she does good work. I'm not sure if I like that necessarily. And Doe says, thanks for making your stance clear. I'm glad we can all be clear about our stances here. You just think it's cool to play defense for people who say buying human beings for sex is, quote, primarily about the buying. If that's who you want advocating for you, say it with your chest. And then it seems to end there. At least in this case, we're not really talking about going after one's job, right? We're just talking about one's suitability for a progressive board. I mean, at the very least, what a person does online is definitely relevant to their presence on such a board, is it not?
Imagine him like qualifying, like we should cancel her out of her real life advocacy because of an online argument about whether like showing your feet in public is like fucking sexual harassment. Like, Jesus Christ. Booksmart's roasting you for the cross-platform comment.
How long do you think Destiny's Twitter will last? I don't know. Why would you announce that you're not enforcing cross-platform bans for harassment against a specific person, then act like that's not directing hate towards them? That's what I'm talking about, bro. If you guys are smart enough to realize that Trump incited violence at the fucking Capitol, then you're smart enough to realize how him saying that will encourage harassment against these people. And if you can't see those two things, then you're exactly the component of his community that I'm trying to complain about. You're exactly what the problem is. So if this whole time I've been ranting, you've been like, wow, Booksmart's is a really twisted idea of the DGG community. I wonder where he's getting that. It's you. It's literally, it's you. If you were wondering.
I mean, it would have to be, I assume. If I was on board with like a LGBTQ advocacy group, you know, and some of my Joker takes were made visible, I know that would have an influence, especially when she's a public figure. Well, yeah, right? I mean, you know, we're responsible. You would have to step down, lol. There's a reason why I'm not on the board for any. Actually, that's not true. I think I'm kind of like on the PR board for that LGBTQ museum that's going to be opening up. Okay, so here's the actual Twitter, and then here's Dylan's tweet.
Apparently, people want me to show something about him attacking.
Slandered for it. I feel like my main issue here, after all of this, is that you guys didn't go far enough in harassing a queer woman of color. I feel like you guys could have gone way harder with that.
I never do this stuff. I don't do it. I never do this. The most I'll say, and even when I've said this, I've gotten destroyed. The most I'll say is like, I don't care if I lie about this person. Remember when I said, Demon Mama did the thing where you post something from 4chan, like, oh, look at what people posted. And I was like, oh, nice job, it's your own post or whatever. And people are like, do you know that she posted? I don't know if she posted it or not. Like, it's fucking, people say that shit when people post 4chan. And like, you think it's okay to lie? It's like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care about it, right? This is like the farthest I've ever gone. I've never, ever, have I ever? In 10 years. I don't think so. Bring it up if you want. Pretty sure not in 5 years. I've never been like, all right, guys, let's go. We're all gonna go harass the fuck out of this person. Let's get him. Because if for no other reason, even if I wanted to, it looks so bad. It looks so horrible. It looks so horrible, okay? It's not good. It's just not a good look. It's just not good. It's not a good look. You can't do it. But like these people like explicitly
in good faith and was then harassed, bullied, and slandered for it. I feel like my main issue here, after all of this, is that you guys didn't go far enough in harassing a queer woman of color. I feel like you guys could have gone way harder with that, you know? That's my main issue. I feel like the logistics here just didn't pan out. Like, you could have gone way harder. That's the main issue, you know? Honest. Oh yeah, same shirt. What's up? That's consistency right there. Wait, she claims to be a black nationalist? Yeah, wait, doesn't she literally... Wait, hold on. Thought Slime is literally conflating this in the same way Professor Flowers accused me of conflating it. I'm pretty sure that Professor Flowers identifies as a black...
I think the worst you could maybe get me on is when I've said, like, these people should be bullied. If you want to call that like me, but like nothing that even approaches this level of like, you guys need to go harder. Like, Jesus Christ. I think he did it to Contra as well.
All right, thank you guys. Keep it up though. Don't get complacent.
Keep it up, guys.
The more viewer in the replies being like, that's not what's happening right here. Like, this is necessary, okay? Publicly shame her into changing her mind on this. All right, thank you, guys.
Hold on, sorry. These are some good-ass clips. Fuck, if we go over this now when I do my manifesto, you're gonna get a lot of repeats, maybe. This is good stuff to have. Hold on. Sure, I don't think DGG is transphobic, but when Destiny says, if you say something bad on Twitter about this person, I will not ban you on DGG, it will almost inevitably lead to harassment of that person. Did DGG harass them? No, there's never all this harassment happens. Here, the reason why I said this, okay, is because, listen, I am the only person that I know of. Maybe other people do this and I don't know, but I'm the only person that I know of, and I don't do this because of fucking lefties or whatever bullshit. This has just been my personal thing, is if other people in my community go and harass people in other communities, I ban you in all my communities because I have no tolerance for that brigading shit. I don't like that. It makes me look bad. It makes it hard for me to associate with other people because my community will go and attack them. Like, I never have ever approved of that. And I've always told people, if I catch you doing it anywhere, I'll ban you everywhere. But I'm the only motherfucker that does it. Nobody else has an enforcement policy like that. Nobody that I've heard of. Maybe they do and they just don't publicize it. But like, that's something that I do to go out of my way to be nice for other people. But for Demon Mama and Chaos, fuck that. Like, if they're gonna call me transphobic anyway, all that bullshit, I'm not gonna go out of my way to hunt down every person that they say. So I was like, oh, fuck that. You know, I'm not doing cross-platform bans for this shit. I'm just not gonna leave it. I'm banning all their content from my community. Fuck it. All right. You can say that maybe that like implicitly encourages harassment, which maybe, sure, I'll get that. But it's still nowhere near the level of explicitly telling your community to do more. I'm sorry, this clip is just very funny to me.
My posture looks good. That's all I care about.
Did you hold frame?
Yeah, I held frame.
Okay, he held frame.
There we go. That's the only thing that matters in these fucking debates.
Yeah, boss jet slash just a little bit.
Yeah, well, Destiny is going to get fucking obliterated because I've seen how that guy sits.
I was 3 months into my workout arc, okay?
Didn't say Simon Says.
These are all different moments in the debate, by the way. It's not just the same thing being looped. This is all a different moments from the... Okay, my posture used to be really bad, okay? It did used to be pretty bad, okay? Yeah, the first time I watched that, I thought it was the same clip over and over again, but anyway. Bump, 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 bump. Okay. The Rift is calling? No, it's not. Elden Ring is calling. Dan wanted to kill me when this happened. Oh no. This is the most bizarre thing Vaush has done. Did I ever try to pedo jacket Doe? I don't remember. Do you notice no one ever says it's you? They say DGG but mean you so they can walk it back when they get called out for it. Yeah, Vaush even like preemptively covered himself by saying, well, remember when Gamergate happened? Oh yeah, I didn't even side with RGR on this debate. They just assumed I did because they think I'm as partisan as they are. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh God, I just... Calling, oh yeah, when Vaush was saying things like, oh, this is like when Gamergate had 5% of the people were horrible doxing harassers and the 95% weren't, and anytime you called out the 5%, the 95% would cover for them. He was trying to like preempt that idea that like this doesn't happen and I don't lead it. But again, I think a good part of this can be traced back to that these people don't know what online harassment actually looks like. They think that like seeing 3 or 4 people in a chat saying something mean must be evidence of like huge harassment, and it's just not, or a huge brigading rather, and it's just not. Oh! Is that really a 3-4 hit combo? Okay. Oh, okay. A Josie person posted 5 instances of harassment from DGG. Yeah, remember, okay? Remember, psychologically, okay? If you ask somebody, or here, you should know this. You guys know that etc. means I don't have any more examples, right? So when somebody's like, can you name all the times this happened? And you're like, yeah, it happened A, B, C, etc., right? You say etc. when you really mean like, that's all I know. And I'm just like saying that to make it sound like I know like way more examples. If I ask somebody, like, post an example of harassment that you're getting online from my community, and like 2 out of the 5 of those examples is just people calling them like a loser or saying like cope, then like they probably don't get that much real harassment. If you can't even come up with 5 good examples, I don't believe that it's a thing that's happening that much.